twice.
Jesus.
As Pep once yelled at the heavens at Anfield, Ole must be yelling as he's now failed to beat subpar teams in Arsenal and Manchester United. This is Talk Football. I'm your host with the most, Snashe, and welcome. And I'm joined as ever by my esteemed co-hosts, Shihab and Nabi, starting you with the U. Shihab, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Feeling good. Yeah.
Good.
Great times.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Nabi, how are you doing?
Doing fine.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Doing well. Also, good times. Yeah. So before we get into the show, as always, please, we'll drop our socials into the below. So please make sure you follow, you like, and you interact. Yeah, we do not bite. Those three things are very key and are important to help us grow. Make sure you follow, you like, you interact. You can probably see if you're listening on YouTube, you can see it on the display. We've got our Twitter, our Instagram, and our YouTube channel there. And if you don't like my hosting skills, let me know. If you think Nabi's too quiet, let me know. If you think Shab keeps on interrupting people, let us know. Yeah, we want to hear all that good stuff. So yeah, I guess we'll kick off. We want to apologize. We had a bit of a technical issue on Friday, so we weren't able to record and distribute the pod as we normally would. But we're back, and everything is all good. No technical issues for the foreseeable future. So getting straight into it, we're gonna do the two previews, and then the review, essentially. So for example, in Arsenal's case, we'll be reviewing the Southampton and the United game, and then previewing the Wolves game. But we are not starting off with Arsenal. We are starting off with Liverpool. So their two games, it was the Tottenham game and the West Ham game, which were both really good games, actually, especially the Tottenham game. It was a really good game. 3-1. I know they are, the machine that they are, but for me, it was good to see the front three of Liverpool back scoring again. Smiles on their faces again. Salah isn't really celebrating that much in these days anymore. But yeah, it was still good to see them back on the score sheet. Shabs, how were you feeling in terms of the formation, the starting lineup, and the performance? I know there was a slight tweak to the formation, actually, because Thiago was playing a little bit further forward, wasn't
he? Yeah, so I think Milner was brought in for that reason. Milner kind of be the energy, something that's missing because Henderson's having to play at centre-back, and Gini Wijnaldum played more of the six, which allowed Thiago kind of to roam and play a bit further forward, so he can actually make the pass into the forwards rather than having to be the pass into, say, someone like Milner, and then Milner just pass sideways, if you know what I mean. Like, I'd rather have Milner pass into Thiago, who can then actually find a killer pass. But yeah, obviously Matip started in defence with Jordan Henderson because Fabinho got injured. Hopefully back for the City game, but yeah. So and then Matip got injured at half time, which left us with Nat Phillips in the second half. So going into the game, it was a bit nerve-wracking. I don't know if you guys remember the first game, which was at Anfield. It was a bit cagey, and we kind of got lucky in the end. Like, they probably had the more cutthroat chances, I'd say. They missed a few sitters. I think Kane, there was one where like Kane missed a header, like he never misses, and there's a couple of others from Bergwijn.
That's when they were still, I guess they had the confidence then because they were still challenging for the title for about 2 weeks then, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's been challenging for the title this season, haven't they?
Did he say Liverpool were lucky at the time? Is he just admitting that now?
No, I'm saying they had the better chances, or we had the better play. That's probably the way I'd go with it.
Oh, sorry, a bit of a side note. I think I might have mentioned this. Did you guys see the clip of Tim Sherwood? It's a bit delayed off that Liverpool, the first game that you're talking about, Shab, the Liverpool.
Yes. When he goes, I
don't feel threatened.
Don't feel threatened at all by this corner. Oh, yeah. He
just ate his words for me.
Live on telly as well. He's talking
that was
through it.
Did you see the confidence he had when he was saying that as well?
I know. Which I kind of can understand, but when you're doing that live on telly, you become a meme for that reason.
Well, sorry. Anyway, I just
Obviously,
thought.
we haven't got the height, have we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was our formation and system was fine. The only slight tweaks were obviously Milner coming in, which allowed Thiago to be a bit further forward. Front three with the front three as normal, and the back four was the best we could do. Tottenham seemed to have changed it, and I think they got it all wrong, to be fair, because they had a midfield two of
They went
was
three at the back,
Ndombele
Tottenham, at the start, didn't they?
They went three at the back, and then they had Ndombele and Højbjerg in the middle, and I thought that was a bit strange. To be fair, they got outnumbered in the end with Gini, Thiago, and Milner in there. They just couldn't do anything about it. Those two midfielders that they had, and I thought we played it really well. To be honest, like the games before where we were struggling, we basically just kept going out wide, and it kind of looked like we didn't know what else to do, so we just kept repeating. Whereas I thought with the Tottenham game and the West Ham game, which we'll come on to, we kind of tried to do different things. Jordan Henderson from centre-back would try the long ball right through the middle, which Salah and Mane and players like that would run onto. We also used our wings as normal. I thought Trent had a really good game. His best game of the season so far. I thought the front three worked quite well. Two of them on the score sheet. Salah obviously scored, but they got
We'll get onto that one. That was
Firmino's handball.
Yeah.
But all three of them shown how clinical they're starting to become again. Kind of forms, kind of creeping back in. All thanks to the United game in the FA Cup, to be fair. Kind of like, got them into gear. But yeah, Spurs made a few errors, kind of let us in a way, but also we put the pressure on them. They weren't really attacking us. And once they lost Kane, they kind of looked lost. Like they didn't really look like they were offering anything, to be honest. Like second half seemed quite comfortable. Son went really quiet without Kane.
Wait, this is literally what I was saying to you in that group chat with John, and you were saying, no, are you saying they're one man? That's all the point I was trying to say, that their play this season is heavily dependent on Son running in behind Kane. That taking Kane away is literally taking a major part of their team out, which essentially ended up disabling their attack, really, because after that, they didn't really offer anything after Kane went off.
But I feel like they could have adjusted for it. They just I think the issue was that, like, obviously it looks even worse now because they went and lost to Brighton, so it just makes it look even more like Kane's going to have a big impact here. But I feel like Mourinho just doesn't know how to adjust to the fact that Kane's not playing that kind of like Firmino type where he comes deeper and tries to get a ball in behind. Right?
Yeah, they've not got anyone else who can do that.
He doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
But he should adjust to find a better way to do things, get different plays and maybe slightly tweak the tactics and play a different way.
Yeah, that's probably what he's probably trying to avoid doing, in the sense, like, because having to change it would probably mean changing the tactics completely. But I suppose it depends for them how long Kane is out for.
Yeah, if you haven't got someone to play that role and you can't literally swap Kane for someone else, you got to try something different.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the guy to make that pass, find another way. If you have to go out wide a bit more or something like that, you just got to do it. No, but yeah, on that topic, my only point was we lost Matip at halftime. And in the end, it doesn't seem as big. But when you lose your last remaining like first team centre-back, who's alongside a midfielder, and you have to rope in Nat Phillips, who hasn't got huge amounts of experience at the top level. He was lucky in Bundesliga B last season or something, and then obviously played a few games here and there for us. It is a big loss for us. But we just made it work. Like the fact that they lost Kane, it helped us.
Yeah.
Like I think if they kept Kane and we lost Matip, ours would look a lot bigger.
Yeah, because of that threat.
They lost Kane at the same time.
Because that's the thing. When, Phillips probably had an easier ride because he wasn't up against Kane. If he was up against Kane, it probably would have been a lot tougher for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was a lot of relief probably, like, amongst, like, especially for me. I thought losing Kane, it kind of gave them, like, I know Son has that danger, but it's a partnership that they had, and they lost one member of it. But I thought we played really well. Like, I know Tottenham were poor, made mistakes. Like Joe Rodon made a mistake for the third goal.
I don't know what he was doing there.
He just like kind of like misjudged it. It's like remember when against Southampton when Trent tried to chest it and completely missed it and then Danny Ings scored?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like he tried to control it, but just too far away. He didn't end up knowing what to do, and Mane just like finished it there. But yeah, I thought we played very well, especially away from home with the form that we're coming into that game with and the pressure we were under. Because if we lost that game, it was kind of like a be-all end-all game in a way that the way they were talking about it. We would have fallen too far behind City. So coming in with all that pressure, bad run of form, I thought it was very impressive from us. That's what I thought. Don't know if you guys had any different thoughts. Naby, maybe any thoughts on that?
I completely agree. I thought it was a good game from Liverpool completely. Even sort of watching the game, final whistle, just hearing Klopp's roar when the final whistle went.
Did you see his relief when the first goal went in? When that right at half time, like
Mhm.
he just looked up at the sky and just like he's like finally we've got a goal.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it looked like, his celebration. But yeah, I thought yeah, very good under all that pressure.
Yeah.
And Jordan Henderson deserves a lot of praise for both games because he's been very, very good for someone who's like dropping in. Like that's a second defensive midfielder dropping in and doing wonders in centre back.
Yeah.
So we've had Fabinho be one of the best centre backs in the league, probably in the form he was in as centre back, and Henderson's gone in there, been alongside Nat Phillips and done the business. So yeah, very, very happy with what's been going on.
And yeah, do you think Naby got anything to say in regards to the Tottenham game? I guess.
We're discussing the handball.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did say we'd
We
get
can,
to that.
yeah.
Yeah, I did say we would get
You
to
want
that.
to go
That's a
to your
good point.
thoughts, Nabeen?
I thought it was rightly given based on the angle of the straight-on angle is rightly given as a handball.
I mean, I tweeted at the time when the handball was given, saying that I don't think it was given. My main reason being, if you watch that clip again, you see him and Dyer are essentially in a wrestling match, grappling. You know, Firmino's trying to stay upright, Dyer's trying to get in front of him, jostling. Nothing wrong with that. But I feel like that tussling back and forth is what caused Firmino's hand to go towards the ball rather than it being sort of an intentional or deliberate attempt to try and bring the ball down with his hand. Because I think if the ball doesn't hit his hand, I think, who was it? Was it Salah that was running past, who he ended up passing it to? The ball was going to go in that direction anyway.
Thiago it was.
Thiago, sorry.
got the ball
Yeah, it was
from
Thiago.
yeah.
Because I remember there was someone that he ended up laying the ball off to that was just running past him, but the ball hit his hand, which prevented the ball going to him, and he controlled it and then passed it on to Thiago. Either way, I feel like he would have gotten the ball. Either he passed it or the ball would have trickled along and got to Thiago somehow. So yeah, I do feel like for me personally, it was a little bit harsh, and it's not even to say I've got Salah in my fantasy or anything. I don't have him in my fantasy, so there's not even that angle. I just genuinely didn't think it was a handball at all.
Yeah, I didn't think, like, it's one of those where, like, once the referee's looking at it and you just look at the slow-mo, it just looks like he controlled it with his hand. But, like, you got to take into account the grappling from Dyer. Because if he's not grappling with Firmino just controls that and passes on to Thiago, easily. So the grappling then makes Firmino's hands move about because he's obviously jostling, trying to get out of it because he's all over him. And your hands are going to move about. Like, what do they expect? Just, like, hands always down your side?
Yeah.
So what are you saying then? Should just let it go because of that and not? It's either.
Well, he did let it go, and it was so obvious at the time. Like he might have been blocked by view, but he let it go. There was enough.
No,
like
I think the way his hand moved towards the ball, he had to give it his handball. He probably then could have given the foul against Firmino, but in terms of the handball itself,
Against Firmino or for Firmino, I mean.
Foul against Firmino, the foul for Liverpool.
Yeah, so foul against Dyer, sorry.
Yeah, but in terms of the handball itself, I think it was pretty
would you then not argue that because the ball hits Dyer's hand before it hits Firmino's hand? Because if you watch that clip again, Dyer brings his arm over Firmino's shoulder, neck,
that's
whatever
not
you want to
exactly a
call it.
natural position.
Yeah, and then the ball
No, but
hits his hand.
Yeah, the ball hits Dyer's arm when he's got a hold of Firmino, then the ball
Yeah, so
bounces,
that's
and
not a
then
natural
Firmino moves
position
his
then.
arm into the ball.
But that's the point I'm saying. Like, he doesn't move it intentionally. It's because of the current situation, the context, and the fact that, like Shab said, if they weren't jostling and fighting, Firmino doesn't handball that ball. He just controls it and passes it to Thiago. But the fact that him and Dyer were jostling, that jostling is what caused Firmino's hand to make that action towards the ball, rather than Firmino himself deciding.
Yeah, but then
boom.
you don't let the handball go, you give the foul.
But don't you just play advantage on that Dyer handball?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say it's a Dyer handball just because it bounces up, hits his arm, which is holding on to Firmino, whereas Firmino's
Yeah,
hand
so his
goes
hand's in
towards the
an
ball.
unnatural position. Why is his hand all
No,
over
it's not in an
Firmino?
unnatural position in the sense that he is trying to get a hold of Firmino.
His hand shouldn't be
Which is a
there.
foul. But it's not in an unnatural position. It's not. He's not
It's
moving
natural
it
for
towards the
grappling.
ball.
You shouldn't be
Yeah,
grappling.
which is
though, so
part
it's
of the
unnatural.
which happens, and then you get a foul for it.
I've seen softer handballs given than that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But I guess that's probably kind of the change in the rule that they've implemented, isn't it? But yeah, personally, I just didn't think it was a handball. I'd say.
I thought it was very harsh,
Yeah.
and then insult to injury with the Dyer getting a free kick. I just thought,
Yeah, that
alright,
should.
ref.
What about
That would have
the?
made it 3-1, so it was a bit annoying.
It takes me. It reminds me actually also of the Son offside. Any objections to that? I saw a lot of people again calling out the offside rule. Me personally, with something like offside, I think it needs to be that black and white. Like it's going.
Offside has to be black and white. They can change the law, but there's no point complaining about the decision in the game itself because the rules currently mean that that's offside.
Yeah.
What people are saying is he's going back the other way. So is he really gaining an advantage? And with the offside rule initially was brought in to deal with people who look miles away, like completely gaining a massive advantage. But it has to be black and white. You can't. You're leaving it to interpretation for the ref to decide how much of something was an advantage. You can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With the offside, I understand the complexity of the handball, but with the offside, I do kind of feel that one needs to be, if you're off, you're off. You know, there's no sort of, like you say, if you leave it to the referee to interpret it, you're gonna have 10 different referees giving 10 different decisions on, or giving a different decision each time on the same incident, essentially.
And that's actually not as bad as some of the other ones I've seen. I think what people were probably angry about is because he was coming back the other way, not like running through on goal with it. But I've seen like a couple of millimeters, like the Villa one where Southampton scored right at the end. Danny Ings scored, and it was Matty Cash's bottom versus Ings like sleeve, and it was like in millimeters, that kind of stuff. But this one was actually like a 1 foot maybe.
Yeah,
like there was some sort of gap more than what we have seen in some other cases. So yeah, we can talk about like the offside rule being wrong, and Arsene Wenger's mentioned the whole like daylight stuff. But even with the daylight stuff, at some point there will be a millimeter in it.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like everything has a millimeter, so they just have to find something and agree with it. But in the case of this game, that's the rule. He was offside.
Any
could have
thoughts
changed
of
the
it?
game, obviously, very early, but yeah.
I think you should go off head position because if your head is in front of someone and you do have the advantage because you're ahead.
That's where your momentum is going.
And yeah, and the other like Son going backwards, Ings with his sleeve offside. They're not gaining an advantage. So I think they are looking for something to say. What can we actually state? And I think you can go with a player's head position could be a way to go. So if their head is actually ahead of the last defender, then the momentum is with them offside.
You see players running back when they're leaning back as they're just to avoid their head.
Yeah, but then they're leaning back. They don't have the momentum to run forward to gain the advantage.
If they time it well enough, you never know. all they have to do is lean back at the time of the actual passing between. You know when players run around the
Yeah,
defender.
but if they do that, then credit to them for getting that spot on.
Yeah, you see all training methods change for it. Yeah, I think offside is a tough one. Like
Yeah.
no matter what you do with it, people complain somewhere. It's just finding the right balance. I just don't know what that is, to be honest. So
Yeah, I just think I agree, and I think out of all the other ones, I think offside is probably the easiest one to get right compared to, for
Yeah.
example, handball, etc. You know, those other ones are a little bit trickier. But yeah, I guess that was the first. What was it? That was 3-1, and then you followed up with a 3-0.
1, no,
3. I know,
again.
2 3-1s on the bounce. 6 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, so obviously after the Tottenham game, you know, forms, well, the excitement's up. We're like, okay, we're starting to come back. Fair enough. But we lose against West Ham. We're back at square one. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of nerves going to this game, especially with West Ham, how good they've been.
They've been really
I think
good.
they were like 6th or something like that.
You're doing us a favor as well, because Tottenham needed to lose. We're now like a point behind them, or 2 points behind them, I think. And West Ham losing as well. That's good for us as well.
Oh yeah, we're taking down a few of the guys above you.
And we took points from United as well for you. So anyway.
Oh yeah, true. Good business.
Yeah, please come back.
We did the whole Mustafi and Quebec
yeah
combination.
exactly. Anyway.
But yeah, going into it, I knew Matip was out, I knew Fabinho was out, and we're talking about Antonio, Bowen, Fornals, how well they've been playing. Players like Royce Souček. Souček's one of the signings of the season for me. Coming into it, a lot of form. Up against Nat Phillips and Jordan Henderson centre back. So I was quite nervous coming into it, but for whatever reason, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but it just looked like they were playing I know they are playing the champions, but it looks like they were playing in fear in a way. Like, let's make sure we stay in touch with Liverpool. It's like they're coming into a game as if, you know, let's just hold on and
try
and
not to
catch
lose
them with
rather
10
than
minutes
try
to
not
go,
to
rather
win.
than it's similar to what United did. They didn't, and I know it's different because United is a whole derby type thing, rivalry, but like they should play the team in front of them. Like how Antonio was that quiet up against 2 inexperienced centre backs, one being a makeshift midfielder. I just thought, like, okay, this is pretty easy. Like, yes, we didn't create huge amounts of chances in the first half, but we were comfortable. They weren't looking that dangerous. And then in the second half, obviously, like 60 minutes ish, I think it was. Klopp made his first change. I don't know if you guys saw Milner's reaction, like having a serious discussion with Klopp as he was coming off for Curtis Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 2 minutes later, Curtis Jones scored and Milner just turned around, laughed and gave Klopp a hug as if like he was annoyed for coming off. And the next minute he was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
He made the right decision. He just set up the goal. So I thought actually that was one of the best moments in the game. The other good moment was Liverpool back to their counter-attacking best. Yeah, I thought it was unreal the way like
Salah's goal
out from the corner. The Salah second goal.
Yeah.
Trent all the way to Shaqiri. Shaqiri first time to Salah. And
Salah's
that first touch, unreal. That
on the bounce as well.
Killed it.
Literally, that goal within 2 touches from a ball like that. Control it, like, chip it over the keeper, finish.
I think people forget how good of a counter-attacking team we are. Like, they talk about United and Tottenham being counter-attacking sides, but we're still one of the best counter-attack. We just don't get to do that often because we're always the one holding the possession.
Yeah.
And we play different styles sometimes now. But people forget how rapid we are on the counter-attack. And it's probably why situations like that probably is the evidence that other teams look at and goes, we can't let them counter-attack. We have to sit deep and do the counter-attacking.
Yeah.
But we can't let that kind of thing happen because we're ruthless. But yeah, Salah's back to his best. We played without Firmino and Mane. Mane obviously slight injury. Firmino was benched. I feel like it was a bit of rotation with Brighton and City coming up, just managing the game time a little bit. Thought Shaqiri done well when he came in.
Yep.
Kind of changed the tactics again and played a diamond. And again, it messed up with West Ham and they didn't know how to deal with that diamond. So yeah, I thought all of them played well. I still don't think Origi does well enough. I know in the game, like he made good runs and stuff, looked a bit threatening, but he just not good enough personally anymore. I don't think he is. But yeah, overall, very, very pleased. And we're starting to look like, I don't want to say too much here because obviously it's technically only 2 games and we lose to Brighton and we're right back at square one. Everyone's like, that didn't last long.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah,
you
I don't
just
want to say
need
too much too yet.
need another
But
performance
yeah.
where you just continue. Make
But
it
yeah,
3 on
two
3 on
very,
the
very
top.
good performances,
Yeah.
2 away games as well. So yeah, all looking good. And I think all our away wins have all been in London, surprisingly. I think we've had like 5 away wins or something and all in London.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird, but that's how it's been. But yeah, all good. All
And
started.
also, I saw a stat. Sorry, just wanted. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we still got injuries coming up and stuff. Like Mane's obviously recently got injured, Fabinho injured, Matip looks like he could be out for a while. So injuries are still cropping up here and there. So I think it's pretty impressive, and one of the most impressive things, the fact that we've had, I think the stat is like 12 different centre back pairings, 12 or 13, and the fact that
You're not
we,
conceding many either. Still.
yeah, we're not hardly conceding. So to be able to do that, I think it's as impressive as what teams like Villa and stuff are doing. Like I think people, because we're the champions, we're this amazing team, people kind of like take it for granted a little what we've been doing as a defensive unit. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Deserves mention.
Agree. Nabi, any comments on the game?
Well, you said Antonio wasn't in the game, but he did have a big chance just before Liverpool's first goal.
Yeah, he had one big chance and he hit it wide. I think that was literally all he had the whole game.
Do you think if
So
he
I said he
scored that
wasn't
goal,
in
it
the
changes the
game.
game?
Yeah, obviously it would change the game, but when I'm talking about someone being in the game, one chance in the whole 90 minutes isn't being in the game.
Nabi was trying to catch you out there on the fact that goals don't change games. I don't know if you noticed that. Oh, well, you know,
I
you
know
stay
what he's
when it
trying
was
to
like
do,
if
and I just like in the end it could change the game. We'll never know. It probably would have changed the game, but he missed it. So when I said he wasn't really in the game, I don't know if you watched it, but he didn't do anything else other than that chance he got. I don't know if you remember much else that he done. Happy? No?
No, but that was the chance.
That was the chance, but you know, big players make those chances count, don't they? He didn't. There's other games we could talk about. We could talk about Liverpool Newcastle where Salah missed a sitter. And instead of talking about Liverpool's bad form, we win against Newcastle. So
You said big players make those chances count.
well, he came back and made it count, didn't he? The last 2 games. So yeah. Sort out the form.
talk about making it count. Moving on to Arsenal Southampton. Cedric in the squad made it count. There's a link there somewhere. There definitely is somewhere. But yeah, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but I was over the moon with that performance in general from the whole team. Even sort of Cedric, we've always kind of known that Cedric can play left back, but I think that was the first time really seeing him playing at left back. I was happy with the team, to be fair. Can't say I would have changed much. No, if anything, to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't have changed anything because Tierney was out. Gabriel still sort of making his way back into the team. So, yeah, started Luis Fair. And it's one of
Do
those
you
like...
think Gabriel's lost his place? Sorry, quickly. Do
No,
you think he's lost his place?
I completely agree with what Arteta's doing in the sense that David Luiz and Holding have been playing well since Gabriel's been out. Or it was Mari and Holding for a bit, but then Mari got injured. And it's not a fact where, you know, you just because you were good before, you just walk straight back into the team. You have to earn that place back. And the fact that he was ill with COVID, you know, it's probably something that's not going to happen straight away until he's, you know, it's going to probably take a couple of weeks to a month, if not a little bit longer, for him to sort of start feeling himself again. But in the FA Cup against Southampton a couple of days before, he didn't play great, to be honest. He wasn't great, made a few errors. But Yeah, I do think he's lost it, but I think it's not like he's lost it and the door shut. It seems like Arteta with him, the door is there. If you perform, you will play. You know. So yeah, I was quite happy with the performance. I was happy with the team. Even happy to see Pepe back on the score sheet again. Do you know? Just as a FYI, the Pepe now has more Premier League goals this season than Martial, and Pepe has played way less minutes than Martial. Just to say.
Do you know? I have another stat that I read somewhere on Twitter that Alisson has more goals/assist contributions in Big Six games than Bruno Fernandes does, which is that assist he made to Salah in that 2-0 win last season.
Oh,
So he has more than what Bruno Fernandes has ever done in a Big Six game.
He seems to go missing in big games, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he? We're talking about Premier League, by the way, now,
Yeah.
before you try and catch me out.
It was only the game before Bruno arrived.
Sorry?
Yeah. We're talking about the year.
But even still, since Bruno's arrived, he's done nothing in the Big Six game, though. Top game. So
yeah, he's
it's still
definitely
valid.
done nothing, Naby.
Yeah, it's still valid. Like, if you're talking about a game before, if you'd mentioned, like, I don't know, 10, 15 games before, fair enough. But you're literally talking a game before. You know, but yeah, in terms of the Southampton Arsenal, yeah, I was happy with it. Even defensively as well. When we went 1-0 down, I'm not gonna lie to you, for the first time in the longest, I'm not starting to feel nervous anymore. Because there were times where we would go 1-0 down and be like, oh, here we go. But even when we went 1-0 down, our play was still, there was still intent in our play. We were still getting forward, essentially playing Southampton at their own game. You know, the pressing and then counter pressing at times as well, and also knowing when to do it, not just sort of going all out for no reason. I was really happy with that. I think we're sort of starting to see now the squad stabilizing, and I have to give it to him as well. I've been a huge critic of him on the show, even on Twitter. I will openly eat humble pie. Since he's come back from the what was it? No, it wasn't Brighton. What game was it that Xhaka got red card? I can't remember what game it was. But since he's come back from that red card, he's been phenomenal for us. Even in the Southampton game, he made the through ball to Lacazette for the chance that he missed within the first few minutes, and then he made the through ball to Pepe, who then obviously converted it. So you could say that the influence having someone that's very progressive next to him in Partey is also rubbing off on Xhaka, and you know, starting to, the fact that he no longer has to feel he has to do everything. He's got someone else beside him who's also very competent, I feel, makes him sort of start to focus more forward rather than to be so sort of very negative at times, you know, sideways, backwards. Because even in the United game, he was playing quite a lot of forward passes through the lines as well. So yeah, I was really happy with that. Saka back on the score sheet again, and an assist again. That was a great assist off his right foot as well for Lacazette. He's just something else at the moment. You know, that was one thing that Arsenal fans were kind of crying from him. You know, he's been playing well, but we just wanted more of the end product from him, because he had 12 assists last season. We wanted more on the goals contribution. Now he's there, because I saw, like, in terms of teenagers, no teenager in the top 5 European leagues has more goals than him in the league at 5. Which
Really?
yeah, which is impressive. So yeah, more kudos to him, and yeah, I just hope. I saw today actually his injury is not. He's back in full training, but whether he'll be available for selection against Wolves or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was happy with that, and yeah, we'll continue the climb. I guess, you know, we'll continue the climb, continue cutting the gap to teams around us. So yeah, that's all we can do now after the sort of horrible start we had, to be honest, trying to catch up. And yeah, it was a convincing win, 3-1, considering how close it was when we played Southampton at the Emirates with the 1-1 draw, which they should have won. I don't know how we drew that game. but yeah, I was happy with that. I'm not sure if you guys have any comments on the game or anything you want to add to the game.
Nabi, you want to go first?
No.
Oh, yeah, and I was gonna say, this is more both games, I'd say, and it's not criticism at all, but watching Partey, you can see his moments of what he can do, like in terms of carrying the ball under pressure, all that kind of stuff. But you can also, I think, see his rustiness at the moment. Misplacing passes under pressure, sometimes losing it. I think I saw that in a bit United game as well.
Yeah, because
what I did.
Sorry.
What I did like is the fact that he tries to make that pass similar to what Bruno does for United. He keeps going for it, keeps trying to make that forward pass happen. And there are some risky passes he tries, but if they do get through, it puts Arsenal in dangerous position, which I think will be really helpful going forward once he settles in and gets up to speed again.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially the United. I thought that was probably his poorest game for us. The recent United game. Even he came out on social media, sort of apologized to the fans, saying that wasn't his best 90 minutes. And like you said,
a lot of misplaced passes.
Yeah, it's still rusty because that's what his third game since he's been back from injury, and he was out for like a month and a bit. So yeah, it is. Yeah, a bit of rustiness, and I do expect sort of once he sort of settles down, like you said, once he's got a bit of rhythm going, and that is an encouraging thing. The fact that he's attempting to make those passes, and you've seen now Xhaka also attempting to make those passes, because even though they were misplaced, like you said, the good thing is the intent is there. Like, not every pass is going to come through, even with your Kevin De Bruyne's of the world. Not every pass comes through, but with him, you see the obvious pass and he will make that obvious pass, or he will attempt that obvious pass. Whereas before at Arsenal, you'd be like, oh, why didn't you pass it there? If you did that, he would have been clean through. If you did that, he would have been clean through. That kind of thing. So it is encouraging to see. Yeah, he is attempting it once he's fully up to speed. Yeah, it really would be. I think he would be a mainstay. And like I was saying to Nabi in the group chat, he will grow into that one where, like a Bruno Fernandes for United, where we really cannot do without him. But at the same time, we've kind of showed that we can a little bit without him, because we started our resurgence without him. So
I think Arsenal's starting to build a team where you can rely on a lot more of the other players, and I think it's taking pressure off the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, which is players like Saka, Smith Rowe coming through. Those sort of players. Martinelli's starting to come back in. He's quite an effective player. The midfield allows a bit of rotation. You've seen like Willian in the last game, not to talk too much about the United game, but he was able to come on under a little less pressure and probably offer a bit more than he has done in previous games, matches and stuff. Arsenal, in my opinion, is starting to look good, and on the way up.
Yeah, just sort of hope it continues, and that's what I think, 7 games without a loss now. But even if a loss is to come anytime soon, I do sort of kind of back the team to bounce back from it and continue again.
And I think Odegaard is a good signing, because I think Arteta probably recognised that you're a Smith Rowe injury away from a bit of trouble.
Yep.
Obviously not complete trouble, but he runs the show for us in the middle. So I think it was a good bit of business to get Odegaard in,
and especially now,
speed, rotation as well.
2 weeks into the European games start again. Back to sort of those a game every couple of days again. I know we've been doing that recently, but yeah, it is, and that's the thing with Smith Rowe as well. Like I've mentioned before, he has suffered from injuries before, and I don't know if you guys noticed. I kind of noticed him. There were times where I think there was a point. There's an interview he did recently. Sorry to go off on a tangent a little bit. There's an interview he did recently. I'm gonna tie it back to the game with Ian Wright, and he was saying Ian Wright was mentioning to him like, you do need to hit the gym a little bit. It was like, yeah, people have been telling me that I do need to hit the gym, and it is something that I'm definitely doing at the moment to try and get stronger. And I noticed that even more on Saturday. There were times when he was trying to get the ball off Pogba, and I just laughed because literally Pogba just like shrugged him off. It was literally like someone just, a grown man just sort of pushing a teenager aside, like, get off me kind of thing. So I think that's one thing he does need to sort of improve on in terms of his. He needs to bulk up a little bit, his stamina get a little bit bigger. In terms so that he can
I
sort of
think that will happen naturally,
yeah,
anyways. Though,
yeah,
won't it?
because it's
Like,
what
it happens to a lot of
20,
players.
so it's still
Yeah.
really young. But yeah, on and upwards, I'd say. But yeah, moving on to our next preview, the second from last, which is Manchester United were at home to Sheffield United. Nabi, how were you feeling before the game with the lineup, and how are you feeling after and during the game with the performances?
First, I want to go back to that stat that Sheha brought out. What was it again? But Allison?
Oh, of course he researched into it. It's about goals and
I was just
assists
thinking about
in the big 6 games.
Okay. And what, just since Bruno's been at the club, when? What's your time frame?
The year.
Since he's been in the Premier League, I think, isn't it?
Alisson's assist was the one to Salah, which was in January last year.
That's what was before he joined. And you're saying since then, Bruno's had no goals or assists against Big Six
in the Premier League.
in the Premier League. And
Yes.
where is this something you've just seen or you've actually looked into?
No, I've not looked into it. I've seen it on Twitter. It's being touted about. So I don't actually know if it's true, but
Nabi, just tell us what the stat is, Nabi. You've clearly looked it up and got it.
No, I've not looked at it. I've just thought about it just off my head. I can think of 3 contributions he's made. He made
what assist?
an assist against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge to Maguire. He made an assist to Martial against Man City in the 2-0 home win. And he scored penalty against Tottenham this season. So that's 3 right there.
Oh, so maybe it was the current top 6. I don't know. I'll have to find that stat again.
Right,
but
so
usually Twitter's not wrong, so I'll have to have a look.
Put that one to bed. So on to the Sheffield United game. Going into it, the momentum and confidence was there. The team lineup was, I don't think, anything surprising. I think he put in Matic. Really, I think the only thing that really changes is the midfield. It's either McTominay, Fred, or Matic. And I think this one was Matic, Pogba, Martial, I think Cavani, Rashford. Anyway, I think an attacking lineup, but they could not get past the wall of Sheffield, who defended really, really well. And United just couldn't, it just wasn't happening for them on the day. They couldn't really create any chances. They got their goal through the set piece, but they couldn't really create anything from open play. And then Sheffield United got their goal from the corner, which I put down to poor goalkeeping from De Gea, even though he was fouled. And then we also had a legitimate goal, I think, chalked off. And then they couldn't really get things going. And then the second goal came for Sheffield United. And then we just create anything. Really, it's just a bad game.
You putting it down to just a bad game? Because was it one thing I was realizing? I can't remember since when, but I noticed that United haven't been scoring a lot of goals recently. You're sort of going 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, 2-1. Those are the kind of wins that you're getting. And are you worried that your goals could potentially dry up? Because I get it. You at the same time, I should also add you're not conceding a hell of a lot either. To be fair to you, but if you're not really scoring and you're not conceding, you're gonna start getting a lot of draws in there.
I think it's more of a concern if they didn't look like scoring. I think they do look like scoring. They're just not. They're just not scoring, and it's not scoring enough. I think the chances that they're creating the chances, just not scoring them, rather than not scoring and not creating the chances, which I think was a bigger worry. I think they just need to finish more. They need to improve their finishing is really the issue. Because they can create the chances. It's just the finishing, which has kind of been a problem for a while.
That's fair.
Because I think like just focusing on one guy, Rashford. There's a few stories just mentions out on how the coaching team are concerned about Rashford's his really only mode of finishing is to just whack it as hard as he can,
Yep.
which you can kind of see in his play.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, he can strike a ball quite beautifully, but I do see what you're saying, that it's almost like he hits it as hard as he can and then just hopes that the dip and the swerves take it away from the keeper, rather than him looking to put it in a particular place and then it goes there.
Yeah, because if we look back, I'm just thinking about two Rashford chances. One against Chelsea, the 0-0, where he's one-on-one with Mendy and he just thwacks it into Mendy's leg. And another one, which isn't actually a hard hit finish, but it was against Leicester at the beginning of the game. He had a header right in front of goal. It was an easy, obviously not easy chance, but it was an easy enough chance for a striker, and he really should have scored that one. So I think individual finishing is probably the issue there, rather than them not scoring enough. But they're creating the chances. They just need to take them. But in this game, though, that didn't happen. This game was a rare game where they couldn't really create anything. They struggled. But I think that credit should go to Sheffield United for how they set up in this game.
You beat the team at the bottom of the league, beat you, and they're still bottom of the league. That's quite something.
We gave them that notch. So if they go down, at least they have that.
Yeah.
And also, just to add on this game, I think it came out today that the delegates report, so the person kind of oversees the referees, like for each game. I think every game has a delegate, or however it works. But it's the person who overlooks the referee putting his report how the referee did make a mistake, 2 mistakes, for the first Sheffield United goal and the goal that wasn't given for United.
To be fair with you, Dabby, the last group of fans I want to hear complaining about the refs is Man United fans. Like, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you.
I'm just making the point. Fair
enough, but yeah, you benefited from refereeing pretty much the majority of Sir Alex's reign. So yeah, I guess injustices happening towards you is the way of the universe equalizing things, if you will, and long may it continue.
They also came out pretty quickly on that, and I don't think it was controversial enough to even need to make that statement, personally. I think it took like 5 months for them to even mention the fact that Van Dijk's injury from Pickford should have been like a sending off, whatever. Like, it took ages, and I don't even think that was a referee statement. I think that was like Michael Oliver or someone who just made the comment.
To be fair, one thing I will give them on that is that, like, you hope they learned from the Van Dijk mistake, so this is them correcting that rather than sort of waiting so long before they...
I just don't think it was big enough for that, though, was it? Like,
yeah, fair.
You look back and go, that was super controversial. You know what I mean?
Well, like, it wasn't a statement, though. It wasn't a statement that came out. It was just in the report that was mentioned by Solskjaer. No, we don't. If it was could have been in the report that happened in the Liverpool game, but
no one mentioned it. Yeah, that's fair. But
yeah, it's just Solskjaer looking for sympathy, then, isn't it? Really?
So we now gotta talk about the tweet that your admin keeps sending out, Nabi, about Maguire being the best centre back in the league, but he was also, part to blame for that debacle of a goal that your team conceded. No, I said part to blame. I never said fully to blame, because just as De Gea is part to blame, Tuanzebe and Bruno are also part to blame, because Tuanzebe didn't close. Well. Tuanzebe didn't close down the space enough, and Bruno was on the wrong side of the man. Because the thing is, Sheffield still had the ball, but Bruno was like running as if they're about to counterattack. I'm like, where are you going? You know, Sheffield still have the ball. Yeah. What's your admin thinking, or can you back your admin in this?
Yes, well, since I think he said since October, him and Diaz have been the outstanding centre backs in the league. So if we take,
Is that
I'm
factual or
taking,
is it opinion based?
huh?
Is that factual or is that opinion based?
What I'm going to go into it.
Okay.
So I'm taking the last 18 games. So this is after the Tottenham game.
Convenient.
Well, this is also after Tottenham, Liverpool lost against Aston Villa, and also after Arsenal lost against Liverpool. So I think there's a fairness here. We're going after these games, last 18 games.
Yeah, but we didn't. Neither of those teams conceded 6. Well, Arsenal didn't concede 6. Sorry, I should correct. Arsenal didn't concede.
Yeah, we
6.
conceded 7.
But the thing is, you're not comparing it to a Liverpool defender, are you? Because Van Dijk, it's unfair to compare to Van
Hear me
Dijk.
out, man.
It's unfair to compare to Van Dijk because he's been out since then.
Well, I'm not compared to what you're just.
Sorry. I'll let you finish.
So, in those 18 games, Maguire's conceded, and United, but Maguire has conceded 16 goals and had 7 clean sheets. And if we're comparing that to Liverpool, who've actually a better records, 13 on goals conceded, but only 5 clean sheets. But as we know, they have no centre backs, so there's no centre back for them to put into this argument. Obviously, the defence has been really good, but in terms of a centre back, they don't have one.
Yeah.
So
Fabinho's been better than Maguire, just to say.
I think that's an
he's not a
argument.
centre-back.
That's an argument to be had.
If you want to class him as a centre back, then we can enter him.
Well, he just had the biggest. Like, how many games does he have to play as a centre back to be classed as a centre back? He's one of the best DMs in the league as well. Like, he's just one of those guys. What's he meant to do?
That's not the point.
But he's been playing as centre back, so you got to classify as him as centre back, right?
No.
Wait. Wait. Nah, but I just want to clarify something. If you're going to class him as a centre back, it means I don't want to hear you complaining. Oh, he's not a centre back. He's a midfield. If you lose another game, and so if either you class him as a centre back or he's a DM, you decide.
Who?
I'm talking to Shabs about Fabinho because he's saying, oh, we should class him as a centre back.
Me then?
No, I said Nabi. Sorry, I just want to clarify something with Shabs because he's been moaning about how.
I'm saying in the purpose of the stat, he's a centre back, isn't he? He's a DM playing a centre back, but in terms of the actual fact that he's played every single game as a centre back.
Oh, so you can pick and choose when he wants to be a centre back.
No, I'm saying for the purpose of the stats, he's a centre back because that's the position he's played all this time.
Okay.
He's not a centre back, okay? He's not a centre back. He's a DM playing as a centre back, and he's done really well, but he's not a centre back. So again, Poole don't have anyone to bring into this, and we do have Arsenal. I've got Arsenal stats.
Mm-hmm.
The last 18 games, 15 goals conceded, 7 clean sheets. But again, they've been changing about. So the centre back I'm putting into this is Rob Holding.
Yeah.
I'm putting Rob Holding into this, as the other ones are kind of Gabriel. He was doing well, but then he got sent off, and he's not been in the team. Louise has only come in recently. You've had Mari, so really, your only kind of mainstay is Holding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I've got from this is that Harry Maguire circumstantially
is comparable to Rob Holding.
It's comparable. I'm not finished. You guys keep stepping in.
But you stopped talking for a second there, so Shabs then came in.
I'm just taking a breath.
All I've heard is things like, oh, Fabinho's not a centre back, so he can't be in this. This guy's not played enough. Like the Arsenal rotated, all these kind of things. Van Dijk's injured, Gomez is injured, players like that are injured. So due to all these different circumstances, it's allowed Harry Maguire to become, as you say, alongside Diaz as the best centre back in the league.
That's not Maguire didn't cause all that, did he? Maguire didn't cause Van Dijk to be. He has.
But it's still a fact that those things have happened. What we're saying
is
he wouldn't be in the position that you're saying he is if none of these things happen. If players like Van Dijk and stuff were available.
The fact is, we're going with what's actually happened, not what could and might not have happened if he wasn't there. We're doing with
but
my
point is, Diaz would be there no matter what.
That's irrelevant.
Maguire wouldn't be.
Happened now. Diaz's numbers just clean out everybody. In the 18 games he's played in, only 6 goals conceded and 12 clean sheets. And we also can add in Maguire's. I think that Maguire's the only one that's actually scored. He's got 2 goals that he's contributed. I think the others have scored a goal. And also, I think we should also put into this team performance how the team has done. So in these last 18 games, Maguire's got 11 wins, 2 losses. Arsenal have had 6 wins, 7 losses.
Wait. How's it Maguire and then Arsenal? Should it not be Manchester United and then Arsenal?
Fine. Maguire 11 wins, 2 losses. Holding, I think 6 wins, 7 losses. Liverpool, because we're classing them as a unit. I think 11 wins. No, eight wins, 2 losses, and then City 12 wins, 1 loss. So I think when you put everything together, Diaz and Maguire are ahead of the pack.
Circumstantially. And Maguire, I would say, in terms, if you look at purely their job, comparable to Rob Holding. From the stats that you read out, because the things that you're now using to differentiate between Maguire and Holding are like goals scored, form, which we know Arsenal's form has been poor. And even if you put Van Dijk or Diaz in our defense, that still wouldn't have helped. So you're very circumstantial. But if you like I'm saying, if you look purely at the defensive stats, Maguire is comparable to Rob Holding. So to then say he's the best centre back in the league, I think would also suggest,
with Diaz.
Well, no. Remember, I'm going based on your admin's tweet, right?
He mentioned Diaz.
Pardon?
And he mentioned Diaz.
Right. Okay. So why didn't he mention Rob Holding there? Because his numbers are comparable to Maguire's.
Yeah, but I think Maguire is just ahead of him.
But they're still there. If he's going to mention Diaz and Rob Holding, where Diaz wipes the floor with everyone, whereas Maguire is just ahead of Holding, he should definitely be mentioning Holding then.
I think Maguire is just taking into account where they've taken the team.
Wow.
Wait, so
again, circumstantial.
Is Maguire much better than Holding?
No, not really. It's not. It's just better
is that
than
what
Holding.
Your stats that you've come out with now?
Yeah, that's literally.
Is that what
Maguire's also had the pressure of the captaincy, and I know you said he had a part mistake. He's made no mistakes.
He's miles better than Rob Holding.
If you then look at Rob Holding, he's been playing with 3 different partners, near enough every single game, and one of which is very unreliable. I mean, very unreliable.
Maguire's played with 3 different partners.
Yeah, but which 2 of them are really good?
Don't forget, we're playing against midfielders in
and we're playing David Luiz next to Rob Holding.
And you talk about captaincy. Jordan Henderson, as captain, has had to come out of position to be a centre-back in the exact same position that Maguire plays, and done a very impressive job in the last 2 games.
I guess this is the thing, right? I gotta feel fair enough on pulling the stats, but they can paint a picture that's not exactly true. I'm not saying, like, personally, I don't think I do think Rob Holding has been really good for us. I would still say Maguire probably is better than Rob Holding, but I'm just saying, based on the stats that you brought out, it kind of makes them comparable, the 2 of them.
You just said Maguire's better, which is
but based on your stats.
Wait, Nabi, your tweet says, in my mind, 6 October, best centre back in the league, along with Ruben Diaz, by a mile over the others.
But you said Diaz wipes the floor off Maguire, but now he's alongside him in the tweet.
And you also said by a mile over the others. Yeah. Your stats suggest Rob Holding's not that far behind.
Yeah.
Well, City have wiped the floor. Diaz has done really well. And Maguire, considering everything he's had to overcome as well, that should be factored in as well.
See,
What is he overcoming? What is he overcoming?
He's trying to factor in his prison
Why are
time that he
you-
did
why are
in
you
Greece
giving
and
him
all
an
that.
X Factor story?
He's-
Why are you giving such an X Factor story to him?
Well, he's had to overcome that, all the abuse that he got from that, including from you two.
And you
Oh,
don't,
of course he's
and you
dealing
don't
with
think
our
the thing
abuse,
is, right? Man United
course.
fans love Rob Holding for not Rob Holding, Maguire. Sorry, for a lot of them from what I've seen on social media. The majority of Arsenal fans didn't like Rob Holding, so he had to put up with a lot of grief from his own fans and fans from outside before. It's only now recently when he signed a new contract, or most of the Arsenal fans were like, fair enough, he's deserved it. He's been one of our best centre backs this season. But before that, a lot of them were cussing him out, myself included. I was saying he wasn't good enough, but again, he's made me eat humble pie. So if you're gonna factor all that in for Maguire, then factor all that in for Rob Holding. If he didn't have to go through all that, he might just be as good as Maguire's. And he's hit the post a couple of times as well.
He's
So-
also under pressure that he could lose his position.
Yep.
Whereas Maguire's kind of like
His
always
position
staying
is
in his position. There's no one to
certified.
take him out.
Yeah. Like
Every
Wenger
year,
said,
the lose a position.
I'm sorry he didn't cost 55 million. He only cost 5. And he depositioned the player.
Wenger being African.
Depositioned the player who was 37 million in William Saliba. So yeah, a lot of credit to Holding as well.
What, the man who never played?
Yeah. But again, this is the point I was making to you in the chat, that there's a lot of stuff that happens in training grounds that we are not privy to. We only see about 5 to 10% of the true story of our football teams. We don't actually know the full story at all. And we make judgments
You've got to
based...
trust your managers that they're making the right decisions.
What's your point on that?
Well,
Yeah.
you just said the
They're
player
saying
who
it day
doesn't
in,
play,
day
who
out.
didn't play, and we were just pointing out that was the reason why he didn't play.
There's other things going on.
Yeah,
There's always
but
other things going on.
yeah, I think that whole Maguire being a best alongside Diaz is an absolute myth. Also, I guess now moving on to the Manchester United and Arsenal game. Nabi, I'll let you sort of talk through first how you kind of felt with how the team lined up, how your team lined up, and the performance as well.
Team lined up as expected. McTominay, Fred, midfield, Bruno, Pogba, Cavani, and Rashford, and back four. Obviously, would have liked Bailly in there, but he's chose Lindelof, who has done well in the big games. So the lineup was as.
Sorry, I wanted to
expected.
ask, why do you think he does that? Because
I
even
don't know,
against the
just-
Liverpool, that was like a major curveball as well. Like, because Bailly has been playing really well, but yeah, he just threw a curveball and then included Lindelof in as well.
Don't know. Just go back to your point about training.
Yeah, true.
So he chose Lindelof. Performance was like 90%, 95% there. I mean, I think they played well, created the chances. They just could not finish, or just could not get the ball into the net. So I think it was the only thing really missing. And then obviously because they couldn't do that, everything is falling apart. I think that's a bit of an overreaction because I think they're doing the right thing. They just can't take their chances. I think that's really the only step that they're missing. But yes, disappointed not to take the win. But not.
Disappointed not to lose. Because just as I guess you're saying, obviously you had the clear-cut chances, but I still would say that Arsenal, we had chances to score as well, which could have scored, because there was one where Maguire blocked it off the Pepe shot. Like, that one you could see the way David De Gea was going and where Pepe had placed the ball. That was a certain goal.
Yes, at least good thing you had the best centre back in the league covering from there.
Well, who's comparable to the other guy on the centre half who helped put what's his name, your number 7 off so that he missed an open goal. So works both ways, I guess. But yeah, for me personally, the big shock for me. This is the thing I kind of mentioned at the top of the pod. We had Kieran Tierney missing, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and Bukayo Saka. If we had those three playing, I genuinely believe we would have won that game against United at the weekend. Because, you know, as well as defensively with KT, we have a lot going forward from his side as well. And obviously, Bukayo Saka needs no mention. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is now started to find his form, it feels as well. So I genuinely do feel that, you know, with them both, with all three of those, if they were available, because they were a huge miss, especially in terms of attacking wise. We genuinely would have created more chances, more clear-cut chances to score, and probably would have scored. And it still seems that it continues that, you know, Pepe has Luke Shaw on toast still. You know, you just buttered him up nicely. But yeah,
if you say so.
I do think 0-0 was probably fair. But like I said, if we had our three players, I generally think we probably would have won that, probably 2-3-1, maybe 2-2 Arsenal. But yeah, I guess it's one of those we'll never know. But you know, you had all your best players on the pitch, still couldn't capitalize on.
We were a man down, basically a man down for 37 minutes.
Or McTominay, but then when you changed it, still the rest of the game nothing happened.
Still creating chances. I thought the Fred one, I thought that was in. I mean, I have to say that was a great save from Leno. I thought that was in all the way until it wasn't. I thought that was the one.
Nah, I had confidence in the
No, you didn't.
German giant. To be fair, like Leno has been going under the radar. I would probably put him in the top 3, top 4 best keepers in the PL right now. He's been on form for us. It's actually a joke how good he's been. It's been unreal. And I guess obviously also being the second, was it the second best defense in the Premier League as well this season so far, behind only City, I think, and the second most informed team in the Premier League since Boxing Day, again only behind City. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Take a draw considering the circumstances in terms of our team for Arsenal. But yeah, I will concede the fact that you did have the clear-cut chances. But like I said, you know, Maguire's equal and Rob Holding did great to put Cavani off and missed an open goal.
I don't get how he missed that. There was this
pressure from Rob Holding.
Leno saved, like he made a save even though he saved it.
The ball was going wide already though. Oh no, so I think we're talking about two different chances here. I'm talking about the one that was it Luke Shaw crosses? Like it's almost like a cross/shot, and then Leno had like gone just beyond his front post, leaving the goal gaping, literally wide open, no one there. And Cavani near enough hits it straight back at Leno, and it just hits Leno's fingertips and goes up for it.
I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
He saves it, but he saves it like going towards the goal.
Yeah. But it looks like Leno saving it made the chance look closer than what it would have been if he hadn't touched it. It probably would have gone a lot wider. But yeah, like it is, I think, yeah, Rob Holding did well. Another clean sheet for him. David Luiz as well. So yeah. Shab, did you have any thoughts on the game?
I agree with you guys. I thought United had the more clear-cut chances, but Arsenal had better control in the game, I thought. And like you said, if you had players like Saka playing, Aubameyang playing, Tierney playing, could have made a difference. But yeah, all in all, 0-0 was fair, I thought.
Which then brings me to your tweet. Your admin tweet, sorry. I don't know if your admin listens to the show, but saying and stating that Arsenal weren't playing football, weren't even trying to play football. Can you please explain?
Got your attention. Got you all riled up.
No, I'm not.
Is that just Luke baiting tweet then?
No,
Is that basically what you're
I
admitting?
mean, United had 10 men for 37 minutes. United had the more clear-cut chances.
That's got nothing.
But you make it out like United couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, this is
get substituted.
This has got nothing to do with Arsenal playing football. Like you're talking about what United did. I'm asking you about Arsenal.
All I remember Arsenal having is the free kick that Lacazette had and Williams' chance.
We're not talking about chances here.
We're talking about
football.
You said Arsenal didn't even play football.
Gotta play football to create chances.
Oh.
You also can play football and then miss the final pass and not create a chance. Doesn't mean you're not playing football. Doesn't mean you're not going forward.
Yep.
You want to play the safe game.
Oh, what I'm taking here is there was a disconnect between what Nabi wanted to say and what the admin said. They completely crossed wires by the
Yeah, I
seams
think
of it.
Naby wants to say
Because the fact that he's
great.
speechless, he can't even say anything to defend that tweet is literally fair enough.
The tweet. Don't need to explain the tweet.
Cool story, bro. I guess now, yeah, moving on to the previews. Sorry, I was about to say reviews. The preview, sorry, just sort of a quick one for Arsenal. We've got Wolverhampton away on Tuesday, tomorrow, and I think I'll hopefully we've got Aubameyang back in full training now. Kieran Tierney is not going to be fit for the game, and Saka's back in full training, but we'll see whether he's up for selection or not. However, yeah, I'm feeling cautiously confident. Just hope that the boys will be hurt about what happened at the Emirates. The 2-1 loss, 2-2 Wolverhampton, and they'll be right up for this game. Looking to to exact vengeance and take the 3 points at Molyneux instead of and avoid getting the double done. Again with this, if depending on obviously how the performance is going, I would like not to lose, and hopefully, in terms of the team, we will probably see Cedric at left back again, Rob Holding right back. I don't know if I would have Aubameyang straight back into the team. I would probably bench him and start again with Pepe, because I think the last 3 games Pepe started, he's played well. Have Pepe and Martinelli. But based on the fact that Martinelli was hooked at halftime and that was tactical, I don't know if he will start this game. We might see Oba straight back into the lineup. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do kind of sort of hope more or less for the same starting lineup as Manchester United. Obviously, Partey, Xhaka, and Smith Rowe in the middle. And then, yeah, just sort of look to keep the good momentum going, keep picking up points. Especially now, beating Wolves, the team in and around us as well. Take points off them and keep climbing.
So what's your stance on Odegaard, in the team or a squad player?
Oh, that's a very good point, actually. So I had completely forgot about it. I would probably, now that you mention it, I would have him as a rotational player with Emil Smith Rowe, like Shihab said, because this is, apart from a year ago or a year and a half ago, Smith Rowe had only played 1 Premier League game, and that was against Everton when Freddie Ljungberg was in charge. And apart from that, this season is the first time he's sort of fully getting a sort of continued run in the game. So yeah, I would have him and Odegaard rotating, because especially now with Europa League coming back, you know, you really gonna need to start rotating the players. We might even see Odegaard start and Smith Rowe on the bench. Actually, now that you mention it, but yeah, that's a good point. Actually, thanks. I'd actually forgotten about that. But yeah, I would say I wouldn't have him as a squad player. I don't think he's come from Real Madrid to just sort of be a squad player. I think he's come to play games. And I'm hoping that that'll be the case, and he will play quite a few games for us. Head on to Manchester United. Who have you guys got, and how are you feeling?
They face Southampton at home. I think normally this would be a tough game, but I think Southampton are a bit out of form. They're
Yep.
missing some players. So I think if United go for it and take their chances, they should be able to nick a win. But I think that can definitely end up a difficult game if Southampton impose when they're on form, their game on United.
Especially their press.
They struggled with that last season. So I guess it depends which Southampton turns up. But I think United will want to, having had the loss and the draw, I'm hoping the initiative and the motivation will be there to get back to winning ways.
Yeah.
Lineup, I guess, if you're asking me to predict. I don't know what state McTominay's in, so I think he either go either Matic or Fred.
I think it'll be fine, because they said it was just a runny stomach, wasn't it?
I think he said stomach cramps.
Oh.
You'd expect him to be fine, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you'd think.
I mean, hopefully, I don't know. I've never had stomach cramps.
When is it
I
due?
don't know what. He's not having a baby.
It's just the stomach cramps when it's jokes, you know. Anyway,
Well, I'm not sure what his state is, but maybe he'll come back in, maybe not.
But would you play him and Fred, or would you just want one of him and then Pogba and Fernandes in the pivot up front behind the strikers?
I'd say one because of new Pogba. Because new Pogba now
he's picked up
helps a bit
some
more
form recently, to be fair to him.
Yeah, and he helps a bit more out on the defensive side now. Old Pogba, we needed two. New Pogba, I think. Hopefully they can have one in there and have Cavani and Fernandes. Rashford and Martial, I don't know. They're both a bit out of. Martial is really out of form. He's been quite poor this season. Rashford, he's not been great. I mean, he had that chance against Arsenal. You know what all the Twitter pics are. It was just him and Leno.
Yeah, but that's always like, how am I supposed to tell my children that Man United didn't score from this?
Even though it's not the full story, the thing.
Yeah, he was closed down really quickly. To be fair, like Leno was out really quickly. It didn't really give him a chance to take the shot.
Yeah, but even that one, and he had a chance where he was running through on the right, and he just smashed into the side netting. So
like you said, hit and hope. That's what it seems
exactly. So his confidence form is down a bit. So they both need to pick things up. So it'll be interesting if he benches one of them. Maybe brings in Greenwood, who also is struggling a bit. Even though he got a goal against Liverpool in the cup, he's not looked the same. So he needs to pick up a bit of confidence. So I think that's also a factor. There's different players' confidence isn't quite there up front, but I expect them to want to go out and win this game. And we'll see what happens.
Fair. And for Liverpool, how are you feeling, Shubs?
Quietly confident, to be fair. A home game against Brighton, we should win. I know they're a decent ball-playing side, but they're quite low down in the league. I think they're 17th. No, wait.
Sheffield were quite 17th. Low down in the league.
Sorry. They are 17th. Firmino will be back in the starting lineup. Curtis Jones, I think, could come in for Milner. I think the biggest question is our two centre-backs. Obviously, we've signed two today. Do they bring one of them in trying to get them ready for City game? Because I don't think you'd want to bring bring them in as their first game being Man City in such a big game. I think if Klopp plans to bring a centre back in for the City game, they got to play this one as well beforehand. But so I think it's too early. So I can see a Henderson Nat Phillips partnership again. And then a midfield, it'll be the same apart from Curtis Jones coming in. And then front three, hopefully Mane's back. But Firmino will definitely join the starting lineup with Salah and probably someone like Shaqiri. But yeah, quite confident. It is Anfield. I know we lost our record. Last
back
time we
at
played
0
against
again.
Burnley. Back at 0 again. So this is the first game of the new record. Is the positive way to look at it. And yeah, I don't think we've won in Anfield in the last month or so due to that run of form that we've had. But yeah, due to the last couple of games, confident. I guess the big thing is, in order for the City game to be as important as we need it to be, we need to win this game. Because I think if we lose or draw and City win again, I think we're starting to fall too far behind to be able to catch up. So I think we need to win this game and then go for it in the City game to win that one. But to make that a big game, we need to win this one. So yeah, but it's all picking up, isn't it? So hopefully carries on.
Cool. And on that somber notes, we shall conclude this episode. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will have our descriptions in the our descriptions in the socials, our socials in the description. So please make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube, and also make sure you like, you interact. Oh, what's the other one? I've forgotten it now.
Subscribe.
Follow, like, and interact. FLT. Sorry. You get the point. Tornan.